The Galactic Summit had been scheduled for 3 standard rotations. Every major power in the known universe had sent representatives, the Valorians with their crystalline diplomats, the Krell Empire with their towering military commanders, the peaceful Harmonians humming softly in their translation fields. The conference table stretched across a kilometer, accommodating delegates from 47 civilizations. They were there to decide the fate of the Andromeda sector, a region rich with resources but caught between territorial disputes. None of them expected humans to show up. Ambassador Yorin of the Valorians was mid-sentence, explaining the elegant mathematical solution his people had proposed for resource distribution, when the emergency alarms shrieked through the diplomatic vessel. The doors to the summit chamber burst open, and humans stumbled in, literally stumbled. They were covered in blood. Their uniforms were torn and scorched. One human had a bandage wrapped haphazardly around his head, and another limped heavily, leaning on a female soldier whose arm was in a makeshift sling. The lead human, a scarred woman with wild eyes, approached the conference table without waiting for permission. "Sorry we're late," Commander Maria Vasquez said, her voice rough and exhausted. "We had to fight our way through 3 pirate fleets to get here." The chamber fell silent. Absolute, stunned silence. The Krell commander, a massive being with mandibles that clicked with irritation, spoke first. "Humans were not invited to this summit. This is a gathering of civilized powers." "Yeah, well," Vasquez replied, pulling out a blood-stained chair and sitting down uninvited, "we got your coordinates from a distress signal. Turns out those pirates you mentioned in the agenda? They're actively enslaving colonies in the Outer Rim. Thought you should know before you divvy up the sector." An uneasy murmur rippled through the chamber. The Harmonians' hum faltered slightly. "How did you encounter these pirates?" asked Ambassador Yorin cautiously. "We were conducting routine exploration," said Dr. James Chen, the human scientist, his voice steadier than Vasquez's but still carrying the weight of exhaustion. "Found a human colony that had been attacked. 3,000 people dead. The survivors told us about coordinated raids across 15 settlements. All led by the same pirate faction." The Valorian diplomat's crystalline form shifted uncomfortably. "We were not aware of such incidents." "Because they're operating in the gaps between your patrol routes," another human officer, Commander Torres, interjected, spreading a holographic map across the table. "See? The pirates have been studying your movements, your blind spots. They're methodical. Organized. Military-grade organization." The map lit up with red markers, attack sites, supply lines, hidden bases. It was comprehensive. Detailed. Damning. "This changes nothing," the Krell commander declared, though his voice carried less certainty. "Humans have no claim to this sector." Vasquez leaned forward, her scarred face catching the light. "We don't want the sector. We want you to actually defend it. We want you to acknowledge that there's a coordinated threat operating in your territory. And we want to help eliminate it." "You're barely spacefaring," sneered a Zelkian delegate, a gas-form entity that floated in a containment field. "You've been in space for less than 2 centuries. "True," Vasquez acknowledged. "But we've fought 3 wars in that time. We've lost millions of people. We know what organized military threats look like, and we know how to counter them." She gestured to her wounded team. "We also know what it costs." Dr. Chen stepped forward. "We're not here to negotiate territory. We're here because people are dying. Because the systems you've established aren't protecting the innocent. And because we've learned something from our brutal history, sometimes you have to get your hands dirty to protect what matters." The room erupted in debate. Some delegates were outraged at human audacity. Others, particularly those whose territories bordered the pirate-infested regions, began asking pointed questions about the data Vasquez had brought. By the end of the session, an unprecedented alliance had formed. Humans would coordinate with Valorian intelligence, Krell military forces, and harmony in logistics to launch a coordinated strike against the pirate fleet. It wasn't elegant. It wasn't what anyone had planned for. But as Vasquez told her team later, while they were being treated in the station's medical bay, it was what needed to happen. "We showed up bloody and uninvited," she said, wincing as a doctor treated her wounds. "But we also showed up with solutions. With data. With willingness to fight." Torres grinned despite his own injuries. "Classic humans." "Yeah," Vasquez agreed. "Classic us."